Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show. Thanks for stopping by. So today is finally the first episode of the Advanced Nectar track where we're talking about nectar for the gods, not just the basics, but the more advanced, how you really make something out of this thing. And Scott Ostrander, we went over there to talk to him. I just got back a few minutes ago, and he gave us some pretty interesting information. We kind of went into the Zeus juice, the Herculean harvest, the Gaia mania, the Medusa's magic, and we talked a little bit about the Olympus up and the Hades down. So we're going to go through these basic ones, and then next episode we're probably going to get real deep into Herculean harvest, because these are the basics. And they're kind of basic. It's pretty straightforward how you use that. This is something where there's some room to make some real advancement in your garden. So watch this, and I'll talk to you after.
Pretty sure it died when you were promising these good people this show for weeks.
Weeks on end. And
then we
finally
get here,
and it's not that good.
Think we'd have, unicorns sword fighting with their heads.
Don't you have a unicorn in there?
Yeah, I mean, we need 2 of those going at it in here. See? That's the secret ingredient.
The secret ingredient, the magical juice. Hey there! Bob here with the supreme commander of Nectar for the Gods, Scott Ostrander. And I've been promising you the Advanced Nectar track for quite some time, and we are finally delivering. Although Scott feels that this isn't really the advanced because these are pretty basic, but we got to get through every bottle. And so this will be...
We're speeding this up.
We'll speed this up and cover these 4 basic
ones.
ones.
Covered 100 times.
And then we'll get after... Oh, don't put that up there. It's a secret bottle.
And we're not starting over ever again.
No, never again.
So this
is it. So
yeah. I mean, the last time I had audio, it would have been awesome. But there's no
that
audio.
That was a great video. I just wished I'd had the microphone on when we did that one. But, Scott, here we are. Medusa's Magic, Gaia Mania, Zeus Juice, the 3 basic ones. What's the deal with those?
This was our original 3-part formula. So all the people out there who needed a 3-part formula, they needed to grow a bloom in a base. This was our answer to the original 3-part.
This is when you were still finding your way a little bit.
No, I mean, this is where, when I found Frank, this is what, minus this is what Frank knew. This was Frank's whole life in that day. And, back in those days, we're talking the 80s, early 90s.
So this was way ahead of its...
Oh, I mean, this product has been around at least 30 years, and it's funny because some of these really old school growers who still... none of you guys know them because they meander. But even they remember the original bioactive supplement that they used to use, a 1-part bottled nutrient, and it was this bioactive, came in a silver bottle. Silver plastic. It wasn't like metal. But, it was sought after, and it was very cultish, underground, only, the certain growers know all about the bioactive.
Stuff. Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Shit.
So it's been around forever, and when we got things going, we did realize that the NPK numbers kind of lend itself to be more of a bloom formula, but you can use it start to finish and get all the growth, the root development, cell development. The plant develops really nicely with all the elements that are in Gaia.
So this is a veg and a bloom kind of situation, but they're somewhat similar, and it's a lean this way, a lean that way, not a totally different product.
It's more or less very similar, and a lot of people are like, well, what's the point? They're the same ingredients.
Right.
Well, they're at different ratios and at different levels, and they're bonded to different things. So, each one of them is going to have their purpose. If I had to, you could pick just one and run the rest of the line with it without any issues, because a lot of the products that are in both of these are in individual bottles on the rest of the line.
Okay.
So for guys who just want straight simplicity, you can run this and do great start to finish.
So, and if your mom's growing some houseplants,
oh man, just these 2 alone, you're good to go, because these 2, originally these 3 by themselves lent to almost a pH perfect program where they could mix up these things at rate, they can add this in, and the pH would always be somewhere in the 6s.
Okay.
And that was before we were really pushing hard with the bone meals and the liquid calcium phosphates. Before we really developed into this industry and really dove in, this was for all gardening plants, any house plant, any field crop. These are going to cover that whole gamut.
So then let's go. So we got these 2. What's the Zeus juice? How does that fit in?
The Zeus juice, this is just a catalyst, if you will, a base. It's got a lot of trace elements. It's humic and fulvic from BioAg, and it's the original BioAg, not the ripped off BioAg name BioAg, which is pretty huge. But it's the real guys here in Oregon. Stuff's amazing. The best humic and fulvic acid in the country, as far as we go through a lot of humics and a lot of fulvics. We've sourced them all out, and these folks make the best, the cleanest, and the most natural form of them, and the most bioavailable. Encourage you looking them up online, the original OG BioAg. Go check out their website and see what they have to tell you about their humics and fulvics. You'll notice on our feeding schedules that we never really go above 2 teaspoons on this because there's no need to go more.
Okay.
It has this, it won't hurt to go more, but it's not going to benefit you.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, you're not pushing it.
Yeah, okay.
You can't push with humics. You just condition with the humics, and then everything else kind of falls into place.
So can you push with these?
You can, that's it. It's by recipe on the schedule. You can. That's a starting point. See how far it'll take it.
Yeah.
Very hard to burn with 2% nitrogen.
So what will you see when you get when you get too much? Are you going to see symptoms in the plant, or are you just going to see that you got tons of stuff in your soil?
Oh no, plant. I don't care what my soil top looks like. My plants are thriving, and I know everything's working. Soil surface is nothing.
Well, I mean, as far as high ppm in your soil, it's just
if they stop eating and your ppm start to rise in your slurry test, then I need to back these off.
You'll see a lockup, and that's what you're okay.
But no, for the most part, you'll see tip burn. You'll see a weird, very lip edge curl.
Okay.
There'll be different deficiencies or toxicities, and there's a very fine line between a toxic and a deficient plant. So,
and that's where you're trying to be, to push as hard as you can if you want to do that, or just put the scheduled amount and be happy.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got that 3, and then what do you got back here?
Well, here was the pusher and the driver was the Herculean, and the Herculean is what really started making us move more Olympus up because
of the pH.
To keep this stable, we have to drop the pH down. Through its digestion process, we get everything broken down to its most available form.
Right.
But in doing that, breaking bone apart like that, it's
it's excited. It's ready to roll.
It's off gassing as we're as we're hydrolyzing the bones. We're exploding these molecules, which in that reaction we're releasing a CO2 gas.
Sure.
To stop that gas from continuing throughout the rest of time, we basically have to drop the pH down on it.
Just to stabilize it.
It just stabilizes it. It stops the CO2 off gas. And another reason for that is when you do raise the pH back up on it, it does a quick CO2 release.
It's ready to roll.
Yep, it's now charged, and now that CO2 is being released in the root zone, which can benefit the plant because they can absorb that at certain times of the day.
Okay.
So it's, I never worry about the CO2 release after we get it stabilized. But this became our secret weapon really in the line. This by far is the biggest selling product. It's the most widely used across the entire industry, whether it's synthetic farmers, salt-based, mineral-based, or organic farming. It just seems to be the one that everybody wants to use because they see such an immediate benefit. The major benefit of liquid bone meal, there's a lot of liquid bone meals out on the market, and they should be looked at, they should be tested, they should be played with, but the reality is most of them are just the post byproduct of steaming them. So they're getting the water and the juice. Not many are actually grinding up the bones. Especially what we do, we crush them down into fine powder. Then we soak them and we hydrolyze them to actually break off the calcium phosphate. So when we're done, we're liquefying bones.
Theirs is a broth.
Basically, a lot of them are broths, or they're just bone powder that aren't available anyway. You're better off just putting bone meal in your soil.
Well, it's like you see when you get the bag of the bone meal. It's all broken down into dust, but it's still long from being available to the plant.
A piece of dust to us is a giant boulder to a bacteria.
Yeah.
So it's still a meal this big. A bacteria is trying to work off. Yeah. So when you put bone meal in your soil, and we put a lot of bone meal in our number 4 soil. Lots of bone meal in the bag. But we know that only a percentage of that's going to be available in the next 16 to 20 weeks of that plant growing in there.
It's going to be the next plant or the next plant after.
It gets better over years of use because that bone meal will continue to break down over time. So if you're using powdered bone meals in your grow, inoculate early, make your soils early, get those pre-broken down like 3 to 6 months in advance, and then plant in them because then that bone meal will be available. If you're using bone meal outdoors, that should be going in the ground in January. So you'll have availability in June, July, and August. And even then, you still have a whole nother year worth.
Yeah.
So bone meal is great, but you have to know how it works, how it breaks down, how it gets consumed. We digest it for you, so that's why people get so excited about Herculean Harvest is they see the results almost overnight. And most see it overnight. I just say almost because I don't want that email. So I wanted my bone meal today, and I did not see a result overnight.
See a result.
So you may not get those results.
Your results may vary.
So that would also take us right onto the pH ups.
Yeah, so what's because of the Herculean Harvest.
Yeah, because if this is dropping it down below your 6s, so I think we covered in our last one before we didn't turn on the microphone about NPK, salt-based nutrients, mineral-based nutrients that run a lower pH
Right,
scale.
yeah, that's I was asking about that because it's like they say 5 something.
Yeah, anywhere from 5.7 to 6.2. And that's where nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are going to be most available. And you see that on all these, nice
Which
little
makes
scientific
perfect
charts.
sense, I guess.
In a sense.
In your, intellectually, but
yeah,
in reality.
and if you're using those 3 as your driving force.
Yeah.
If you're using nitrogen to drive nutrition to the plant, then you want a lower pH. If you're doing phosphorus, you need a lower pH. And potassium is going to be in that 6-ish range.
Sure.
So, but we're running off of these calcium molecules. And we're bonding things to calcium to drive those into the plant.
Sure.
So to do that, we need this higher pH.
So you were saying before when we weren't when the microphone didn't work that you were like, what's going on? Because you weren't seeing the results you were looking for.
At 6.1, we weren't getting any result from this Herculean. I'd say at 6.1 we start to see it, but at 5.9, we're just watering in bone meal, we're clogging up the soil, it becomes gummy and a nightmare. We took this up to 6.2, 6.3, 6.4. All of a sudden now we started seeing a Brix reading in the plant. They started absorbing and started using that as an energy, and we noticed it in the plant's response. So that's how we started coaching people into, you need to rethink the way you use pH in our line. It isn't your average line where it's going to be a low pH situation.
Right.
And then also checking your soil mediums often to make sure that the pH hasn't drifted, because even if you're watering this at 6.4 and your soil pH is 5.7, the stomata in the root zone is at 5.7 in its environment. It's still not going to open up at 6.4.
Okay.
So you need that medium ultimately to be buffered in that mid-6 range.
So when you're talking about this pH up, you're not thinking of it just from the aspect of making your mix the correct pH. This is something where you're trying to make the soil.
Yeah, we're trying to feed it. Because this, if you can imagine, we take rock, limestone rock, we micronize it into a fine dust, and then we hydrolyze it. So when we take 10 pounds of rock and we try to make it water, we're not getting 10 pounds into water.
No.
So we're pretty happy with about 75-80% liquefaction.
Okay.
The remaining percentage is great for us, nectar growers. It sucks for guys who...
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is we're trying to take that extra percent, get it into the medium, adhere to peat moss, cocoa fiber, compost, wood debris. If you have a potting soil that's rich in wood, all these things when they break down become acids, salts, enzymes.
And they're pushing the pH out
if
of
you're
range.
not continuously watering through, that pH can slowly drift to the acidic side because you're never buffering down low. That 15 to 20% of extra limestone adheres, and as this piece of bark is breaking down and creating acid, it's buffering that acid.
Because the acid's breaking it down, and it's buffering the thing. It's stabilizing.
And it's turning that acid into a food source that the plant can absorb, because plants love organic acids, but not if their pH is 2.
So it's like by extension a nutrient because it's making a nutrient.
Yeah. No, it is a nutrient. We believe it is a nutrient. Ideally, even if you can't use it, you live in San Luis Obispo. Your water out of your tap is 8.8. You mix all this up, and your water is still at 7.3. You're losing. You don't get this.
Okay, so you'd use the Hades down or whatever you're going down with. You go down lower.
That's where.
And then come back up again so that you can have that in your soil.
Yep. And if you have to do that, ideally you want to bring your water source down. So if you start at 8.8, let's say, again, you're that region, you need to drop your water, so you drop it down to 7.0 or 6.9. Then you mix up the nutrition. Now you're at 5.9, and then you need your pH back up to 6.4. Now you've put in organic acids the plant wants, you've buffered your water, you've created your food source, and then you're giving them that candy on top with the limestone as a food.
First with this one, there's just the water.
Yeah, because if you have high water, you mix all this up and it gets it down to 7.
Yeah.
Then you have to drop it down to 6, and and then raise it back to 6.4, these two working directly against each other.
Sure,
it's too fast.
Sure.
So you're going acid to base, you're going to create rock.
Okay.
But if you start with a buffered water, mix the concentrates into buffered water, they blend nicer.
Sure.
Then you bring the pH back up, and it won't affect how these two react.
See, that's advanced stuff.
Well, yeah, but we waited till the very end of pH up and down. So this stuff, you're still getting the general cookie cutter.
So, I guess going forward, two questions. One, these three are kind of the base thing, and then we've largely covered those, would you say?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's
So,
not,
but
just Google it. It's
the
everywhere.
Herculean Harvest is maybe something we need to talk about, and then we need to...
Yeah, I think because the Herculean Harvest has so many other things it can do for us. From flushing, curing, corrective. I mean, it's the miracle sauce of nectar.
Okay.
I do believe in this realm, you can grow an awesome plant right here with these four.
Yeah.
I mean, an awesome plant. You can grow a great pepper, great tomato, incredible medicine, and as simple as 4 products. The only reason we're going to even talk about the rest of these products is because people wanted to dial in and push this plant harder and harder every year.
But would you say in the first stage of getting more advanced with this line, better to learn the tricks of these than to try to go into the...
Well, if I want to take up car racing, I'm not going to go on the track and get in Formula 1.
No.
I'm going to get in a little GTI, and I'm going to hit a little oval track, and I'm going to crash a $10,000 car and not a $1.9 million car.
Learn
so here's my GTI.
I got
my Ferrari's sitting in the back. I don't have a Ferrari, I got a truck. But the reality is, I own this company. I don't use all these products. I mean, in all of my gardens, I run pretty much the Greek regimen and a splash here and there of other products.
Okay.
But for the most part, I got guys who kill it with these 4. I got guys that kill it with the Roman. It comes down to your wallet, your budget, your taste, and your need for manipulating this garden.
Doing it just right.
We're giving you the tools to be able to take it to a whole new level, or we're giving you the tools to just grow a nice, easy garden. So it's up to you.
Well, I guess I'd say, too, that you probably don't even know what those other things are doing for you until you feel pretty comfortable with these.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And then you'll come back to us. I mean, we get it all the time. I would like to sample all of your products. Why? Would I wouldn't. To me, it's a nightmare. That's 15 things I got to try to figure out
what's going.
No, and my biggest recommendation: start with the 4. Run a crop. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Next time, add 1, maybe 2 things.
Yeah.
Document what that does. And then when you add something else, see if it benefits you in your garden. See if there is a long game there that's going to make a lot of sense. Because if you put in Triton's Troll, you didn't see a color difference, you didn't see what we promised you, then don't buy it again.
Sure.
Use something different because it's not for you.
Yeah.
But if you really need that, because I got a couple farmers that are like, if I don't run Triton's, my jar appeal goes down to half. So I need that in there because I need the amino acids.
For my garden, for my gardening.
Well, that's it. It's, how do you garden? Look down your street. Everybody grows different. So there is no perfect recipe. Find your perfect recipe and dial it in. That's what the goal is. So we're giving you the tools. Here's 1,000 things. Use 8.
That's a perfect place to stop.
8?
8. I don't know. No, the way
this show?
Yes!
Oh, it would have been perfect when we stopped it the last time when we didn't have a microphone.
I think we've explored that territory enough. We understand that I messed up.
Well, I think we should just play that anyway as a loop. As like the header of all the websites of this.
Mistakes were made, and it's not important that we point out who made the mistakes, but only that we fix the mistakes.
I agree. It's nobody's fault at all that we're aware of.
It's hard to not lay the blame at my step. Thank you. That's the show. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. You may notice Scott was a little salty in there. That was because of the whole microphone snafu. We had to do the video twice. But it was good information. Actually, it was a little better the second time, maybe. Just a little more freewheeling. But we're going to batten down the hatches. We're going to do some more stuff. Next episode, I think we're going to be talking more about Herculean Harvest, going deep into Herculean Harvest, because it is something where you can make a real difference in your grow. And then we'll start off with, after that, with the Athena's Aminas, the Demeter's Destiny, cracking going on down the line. So thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you again. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, ocgfam.com. You can also buy some stuff there. It's a nice place. You should check it out. The OCG Fam Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.